Halloween might be over, but these ghouls still want to take over your property. Find out about this scam and how to stop it on this installment of the Nudi Report. Hi, I'm Ralph Nudi, and this is the Nudi Report. An October news story will spook some homeowners, but we'll give you the whole story and we'll show you how to protect yourself coming up. Now let's talk about the local housing numbers for October 2025 and how they stack up with a year ago and the rest of the year for Lee County. Overall, we're seeing a more balanced market. Inventory is still up, sales volume is steady from last year, but slightly higher, and we're seeing the first glimpses of encouragement in 3 years. Price adjustments are starting to bring buyers back into play. The name of the game is price. There's still a lot of inventory out there, and much of it is just sitting. But properties priced right for today's market are selling quickly. Those listings are few and far between. Most sellers and most agents are still overpricing. Those homes will sit for months and they skew the numbers. And when they finally sell, it's usually for less than if they've been priced correctly up front. In Cape Coral, we had 451 closed sales in October compared to 389 last year, about a 16% increase in activity. Fort Myers saw 378 sales, up from 314. Lehigh Acres climbed from 184 to 213. Bonita Springs and Estero stayed flat, right around 100 closings each. The takeaway? Buyers are still out there. They're just being selective. Now let's talk prices. In the luxury zones, Mediterra came in around 1.7 million, roughly the same as last year. Miramar Lakes jumped to about 1.6 million, up significantly from last year's 1 million. On the islands of Sanibel, Fort Myers Beach, and Captiva, prices are holding steady in the 600 to 700,000 range, showing strong stability despite insurance and tax pressures. Inventory is where we see the biggest change. Fort Myers has about 3,700 active homes. Cape Coral has 3,500 and Lehigh Acres a little over 2,000. Bonita and Estero combined add another 2,000 plus. Buyers are now in a stronger position to negotiate, and sellers need to realize 2021 is not coming back. The market won't reward overpricing. Cape Coral alone had over 800 expired listings last month. Fort Myers had 664, Lehigh over 400. That's a lot of missed opportunities, homes that didn't sell because they didn't show well or were priced too high. The days of list it high and wait are over. You've got to price strategically and market aggressively. So hopefully what we're seeing across Lee County is a return to balance. After the buyer's frenzy during the COVID boom and then the drought after Hurricane Ian, we're finally approaching a true equilibrium where sellers need to compete. Buyers have leverage, and smart strategy makes all the difference. This isn't a real estate story. This is more just a little lifestyle anecdote. I don't know if any of the rest of you out there have experienced this, but we get mullets jumping in the canal all the time. I was trying to film them, but of course by the time I grabbed my phone from the middle of making the Nudi Report and spun it around to try and catch it, they'd already stopped jumping. But my dog is absolutely obsessed with them. She runs up and down my backyard and up and down the dock, chasing these fish as they jump in the air. Have any of you ever experienced that? If you have, tell me in the comments. I'm curious if I'm the only one. Well, for Florida taxpayers hoping for a treat this fall, it looks like we might have been tricked instead. You've probably heard it. Florida could eliminate property taxes. Sounds great, right? But if you think that's what's actually happening in Tallahassee, think again. What's being sold as reform is really a plan to make sure it never happens. Governor Ron DeSantis actually had a solid plan. And as a real estate guy, I've got to say on paper, it makes perfect sense. The idea was bold, simple, and financially sound. He proposed eliminating all property taxes on residential real estate. Not just homesteads, but second homes and rental properties too. The plan would replace that revenue with a small increase in state-controlled sales and tourist taxes, plus a slightly larger transfer tax up front when you buy. Florida has a $15 billion surplus, and tourism brings in tens of billions each year. Instead of homeowners paying property taxes directly to local governments, the state would collect the money and then distribute each city and county its share based on population and need. The genius of this plan? It forces local governments to live within their means. No more blank checks for vanity projects, overpriced consultants, or million-dollar studies on how to count palm trees on a boulevard. It basically says, here's your slice of the pie. Spend it wisely. That's what normal households do, but local governments have been spending like drunken sailors on shore duty. For example, Broward County spent $890,000 on DEI training that included a cartoon called The Genderbread Person. Whether you agree with the concept or not, $890,000 sounds like somebody's getting their pockets lined. St. Petersburg dropped $300,000 on a climate action plan pushing Green New Deal policies. Jacksonville paid $7.5 million for a 1-mile sidewalk, $7,000 per concrete square. The Department of Government Efficiency found over $1 billion in waste across just a few counties in the state. So the governor's idea was simple. Cut the waste, cap the budgets, fund essentials, police, fire, schools, roads, and stop letting politicians use property taxes like a slush fund. He even said it himself, your home shouldn't be an ATM for local government. And he's right. Even after you've paid off your mortgage, your taxes, and insurance, your home still isn't really yours. It's like renting your own house from the government forever. But here's where it all went sideways. Instead of backing that single clear plan, legislators filed 13 different versions, 8 in the House, 5 in the state Senate, each one slightly different. None of them actually eliminate property taxes. In Florida, a constitutional amendment needs 60% of voters to pass. So what happens when you put 13 similar ideas on the same ballot? You split the yes vote into pieces. Maybe one gets 20%, one gets 15, another 10, but none hit that 60. That's not democracy. That's designed failure. And the worst part, they know it. Flooding the ballot lets them later say, hey, we tried. Meanwhile, your property taxes keep climbing. A few examples. One bill eliminates non-school taxes only. Another phases them out over 12 years. Another exempts seniors, but still keeps school taxes. They're all tweaks, not solutions, like rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. And when you dig deeper, you realize why. Many of these local committee members benefit directly from property tax-funded programs, even nonprofits that they're involved with, that receive 6-figure and more grants from the same tax pool. So ask yourself, are they really going to vote to cut off their own funding stream? DeSantis' plan would still tax commercial and industrial properties and presumably vacant land zoned for those uses. So it's not starving local budgets. It's replacing funding in a smarter, more disciplined way. If this passed, it would be a game changer in Southwest Florida. Imagine not paying taxes for your home in Cape Coral, Fort Myers, Bonita. That's thousands saved every year to offset our rising insurance costs. But local governments would finally have to live within a real budget. Florida doesn't have a property tax problem. We have a spending problem. Our cities are addicted to your money, and they don't want accountability. The governor's plan fixes that, but it'll only happen if Floridians demand one clear amendment, one simple yes or no question on the ballot. So the next time you hear a politician brag about property tax reform, read the fine print. Ask if their bill actually eliminates taxes or just moves the numbers around. Because if we don't hold them accountable now, in 2026, you'll see 13 confusing options and 0 real solutions. While lawmakers keep playing games with property tax reform, a bigger story is unfolding nationwide, and this one hits close to home as well. A new report from Reuters quotes our current Treasury Secretary, billionaire investor Scott Bessent, the same guy who helped George Soros build the quantum fund, saying high interest rates may have already pushed the U.S. housing market into a recession. And honestly, he might be right. The Fed kept rates high for a long time and buyers hit the brakes. But now we've seen 2 rate cuts this fall. Mortgage rates that were near 8% are now drifting toward the mid-6s, and that's progress, but not relief just yet. Each quarter-point drop gives buyers a little more breathing room, but affordability is still tight. Home starts are down double digits, and mortgage applications near 30-year lows. So yeah, the slowdown is real, but Florida's situation is different. We were early to this correction. While the rest of the country was short on inventory, our market cooled quickly after Hurricane Ian. Inventory ballooned, overpriced homes sat, and sellers had to come back to reality, and that hurt. but it gave us a head start. Now while other markets are beginning to feel the squeeze, we've already lived through it. We're closer to the bottom of the cycle than the top. Builders are cautious, buyers are patient, and sellers are realistic again. It's not a crash, it's a slow grind toward balance. So, are we technically in a housing recession? On paper, probably. But in Florida, it might be shorter and shallower than elsewhere. We're still having strong population growth, solid demand, and lifestyle appeal. We were the first to cool and likely the first to recover. My take? Stay cautiously optimistic. If you're selling, price strategically. If you're buying, be ready. If you're investing, focus on long-term rental areas with stable rents. The easy money days are over, but smart plays still win. Florida's not bulletproof, but it's battle-tested. We were the first into this correction, and we might be the first out. This isn't time to panic. It's time to prepare. And now for the story that I led in with. Halloween might be over, but some real ghouls are still out there, and they're after your property. I'm talking about title fraud, one of the fastest growing crimes in real estate. Florida Realtors reports that these title pirates are targeting vacant land and absentee owners. About 2/3 of these cases involve properties that aren't occupied or checked regularly because no one's watching. Florida's transient market, snowbirds, seasonal residents, investors, makes it an easy target. Here's how it works. Criminals find a property with no mortgage. They use fake IDs, forge a signature, record a false deed, and boom, on paper they own it. Then they sell it or borrow against it before the true owner even knows. You've probably seen the home title lock ads. And here it is, the house stealing commercial.
The FBI calls it house stealing, the latest scam where a cyber thief transfers the title of your home out of your name and steals your hard-earned equity.
It's roughly 60 to 90 days for that person to even figure out that they're the...
And there he is, the convicted home thief who is warning you against people like him.
Figure out that they're the victim of this crime. You start getting foreclosure notices and you realize you've got 4 mortgages on your house that you didn't even know existed.
Unfortunately, it's on you to protect yourself.
It is on you to protect yourself, but you don't have to buy their product. Follow me through this and I'll show you how to protect yourself from this and save the money. Dramatic music, scared homeowners, warnings your house could be stolen overnight. The irony, their spokesperson, Matthew Cox, is a former mortgage fraud convict. So the company that says they're fighting fraud literally hired a guy who used to commit it. You can't make this stuff up. Now look, the threat is real, but you don't have to spend a bunch of money on subscriptions. In Lee County, the clerk of court offers a free property fraud alert system. If anyone records a document in your name, you get an email alert right away. Just go to or.leeclerk.org/landmarkweb/fraud alert. It takes 2 minutes. Here's what you should do. Sign up for your county's alert. Check your property's record once or twice a year and be skeptical of fear-based companies selling peace of mind for a fee. These scammers count on you being distracted or far away, but a few minutes of awareness stops them cold. Halloween might be over, but these ghouls are still out there. Now you know exactly how to keep them from haunting your home or your title. After all that heavy stuff, let's finish on something that makes you smile. Thanksgiving's coming up, Christmas is around the corner, and here in Florida, the palm trees aren't dropping leaves, and there's no one shoveling snow. If you've ever said, it doesn't feel like the holidays here, you're not wrong, but here's how to fix that. Decorating early can actually boost your mood. Studies show that the lights, colors, and scents of the holidays trigger dopamine, your brain's happy chemical. That's why the minute you plug in those lights, you feel better. Since we don't get snow, we create the feeling, and that's part of the Florida charm. We build our own version of the holidays. Our own version of a white Christmas might be the white sandy beaches of Sanibel. Light the palms, not the pines. Go coastal with colors, seafoam, coral, turquoise, and gold. Bring in scents like cinnamon, pine, or orange clove. Add smaller lights or candles to warm up the space. And don't forget your outdoor areas, your lanai, tiki bar, or dock. That can sparkle too. If you're a snowbird going home for the holidays, decorate before heading north, so when you return, you walk into that holiday vibe immediately. You don't need snow to feel the season, you just need intention. Decorating early helps you slow down, reconnect, and remember what matters: family, gratitude, and joy. If anyone gives you grief, tell them you're spreading cheer Florida style, because being the brightest house on the block isn't showing off, it's sharing joy. Over the next few weeks, I'll be covering the best Florida holiday events, from Christmas boat parades to the beautifully decorated estates of some of America's former captains of industry. Make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss it. Hit that notification bell. And remember, whether you're buying, selling, or just curious, visit NudiHomeTeamFL.com to search homes, get your value, or just connect with our team. I'm Ralph Nudi. Thanks for watching the Nudi Report. Stay safe, stay festive, and don't go into this real estate market fully exposed. Get Nudi, because Nudi's got you covered.